Hi, my name is Rachel Long. Now that you have heard the details of the power plant options in Nevada, I want to now discuss the importance of the environmental factors that are shaping the decisions about the power plant here in Nevada. I want to first discuss a little about the geography of Nevada. As you may know, Nevada is in the western region of the United States and is also the seventh largest state. Nevada's nickname is the Silverstone. The reason this is the nickname is due to the larger number of silver deposits that were discovered and mined here. Yes, the famous Las Vegas is located here, but outside of those city lights, Nevada is dry and desert. Okay, now that you know a little bit more about the geography of Nevada, I want to talk about the basics, which is the weather, the climate, and the never-ending debate on the difference between climate change and global warming. The term weather refers to a temporary condition of the atmosphere, the layer of air that surrounds the Earth. The term climate is the long-term pattern of weather in a particular area. Weather can change from hour to hour, day to day, month to month, or even year to year. A region's weather pattern, usually tracked for at least 30 years, are considered its climate. Now let's discuss the difference between climate change and global warming. Global warming refers to the rise in global temperatures due mainly to the increasing concentrations of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. Climate change refers to the increasing changes in measures of climate over a long period of time. Basically, global warming refers to the Earth's rising surface temperature, while climate change includes warming and the side effects of warming. For instance, like melting glaciers, heavier rainstorms, or more frequent drought. Now I want to answer the question, what are the causes of climate change? I'm going to discuss two natural mechanisms and two anthropogenic mechanisms that can cause climate change. These examples will give you a better idea on what climate change is. Let's start with discussing the natural mechanisms. Changes in the Earth's orbit or rotation. For example, the amount of summer sunshine on the northern hemisphere, which is affected by changes in the planet's orbit, appears to be the primary cause of past cycles of ice ages, and which in the Earth has experienced long periods of cold temperatures, as well as shorter interglacial periods of relatively warm temperatures, which this is the period between ice ages. The second one is variations in solar activity. While these changes can influence the Earth's climate, solar variations have played little role in the climate changes observed in recent decades. Satellites have been measuring the amount of energy Earth receives from the sun since 1978. Before I talk about the two anthropogenic mechanisms, I want to answer the question, what exactly is this? Anthropogenic climate change is defined by the human impact on Earth's climate, while natural climate change are the natural climate cycles that have been and continue to occur throughout the history. The theory behind this is that humans are causing most of the current changes to climate by burning fossil fuels such as coal, oil, and natural gas. Now that I explain what that is, I'm going to give you two of them. Greenhouse gas emissions. Concentrations of the key greenhouse gases have all increased since the Industrial Revolution due to human activities. Carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide concentrations are now more abundant in the Earth's atmosphere than any time in the last 800,000 years. To better understand what I just stated, I want to discuss exactly what the Industrial Revolution is and why did this event cause such an increase in greenhouse gases. The Industrial Revolution was the transition from creating goods by hand to using machines. Its start and end are widely debated by scholars, but the period generally spanned from about 1716 to 1840. If you look at the chart, human and natural factors both influence the Earth's climate. but the long-term trend observed over the past century can only be explained by the effect of human activities on climate. Now, the second one is absorption of the sun's energy. Activities such as agriculture, road construction, and deforestation can change the reflectivity of the Earth's surface, leading to local warming or cooling. This effect is observed in heat islands, which are urban centers that are warmer than the surrounding less populated areas. Now that you have more of an idea on what climate change is, I want to dive into the past and discuss some major climate events that have happened in Nevada. First event is about the winter of 1948 to 1949. This was the snowiest winter on record for Nevada. Highways in northern and eastern Nevada were closed by drifts 12 to 15 feet deep. A large airlift operation to get hay to stranded livestock across northern and eastern Nevada was sadly too late for 25% of the animals. Las Vegas got nearly 10 inches of snow in January and about 17 inches for the season. The next event took place from November 13th to December 8th, 1950. Nevada saw a series of very warm storms move across western Nevada, melting much of the early Sierra snowpack. Much of downtown Reno was flooded, and flooding occurred along the East Fork of the Carson River and the West Walker River. On a side note, Nevada has warmed about 2.8 degrees Fahrenheit on average across the state since 1970. Throughout the state, but especially across its south, long-lasting heat waves are becoming more common. Snow in the mountains of Nevada and key nearby states is melting earlier in spring, and with precipitation patterns becoming more and more erratic, water flow in the Colorado and other rivers and in Nevada is likely to decrease. This leads me to the question, what is happening with modern climate in Nevada? Well, sadly, Las Vegas has been named the second fastest warming city in the U.S., right behind Reno. Also, currently, Nevada averages 20 days a year classified as dangerous, but by 2050, Nevada is projected to see nearly 30 such days a year. Also, by 2050, the typical number of heat wave days in Nevada is projected to increase from 15 to nearly 55 days a year. And not just that, but Nevada's already experiencing earlier snowmelt and longer growing seasons, while also experiencing more droughts from increases in evaporative demand. Snowpacks will decline as temperatures warm and flashier surface water flow regime is expected to develop in coming decades. We are living through a lot of these changes today, and some of us have even witnessed these events occur over time. So, what exactly are the implications of climate change? There's two ways we can look at these implications, and that is looking at from local environmental issues or local socioeconomic issues. Let's start with the local environmental issues. For instance, more than 1.2 million people living in Nevada, which is 46% of the state's population, are living in areas at elevated risk of wildfire, which is such a high percentage. Also, a Climate Central analysis shows the number of large fires on Forest Service land is increasing dramatically. Also, if upstream states continue to be unable to make up the shortage, Lake Mead, whose surface is about 1,085 feet above sea level, will drop even more than it has already since 2020. Also, higher temperatures and drought are likely to increase the severity, frequency, and extent of wildfires in Nevada, which could harm property, livelihoods, and human health. On average, about 5% of land in Nevada has burned per decade since 1984. Next, I want to discuss the local socioeconomic issues. Most of Las Vegas's water supply could be cut off. Water levels in the Colorado River are its lowest point ever. Because of this, Arizona and Nevada will have new restrictions on the amount of water they can pump out of the river. On top of the climate change will cause effects in temperatures and weather patterns that will significantly impact Nevada's tourist industry and further stress its critical water supplies. Much of Nevada's tourist income comes from attractions that will be vulnerable to climate impacts. For instance, Las Vegas's 45 golf courses, which are used by 1/3 of all visitors, could see a sharp decline in golfers due to rising temperatures and decreased water supplies. Golfing in Nevada generates more than $1 billion in annual revenues and employs more than 4,000 people. Lastly, more than 70,000 people living in Nevada are especially vulnerable to extreme heat. This includes those who suffer from asthma and other respiratory diseases, the elderly, and individuals living in areas with poor air quality. Before I wrap this presentation up, I want to end on answering the question, what are solutions to climate change? I want to discuss 2 large solutions and 2 smaller solutions that anyone can do. The first large solution is to put a price on carbon. Greenhouse gas emissions like carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide have been driving changes in global temperatures, imposing costs on economic, human, and natural systems. A carbon tax is a form of carbon pricing and market-based approach, and is generally seen as a cost-effective way to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Basically, putting a price on carbon involves placing a fee on these fossil fuels and carbon pollution. This fee is based on the metric ton of carbon dioxide that fuel would generate, and it would be assessed at the early point of sale in the economy, as close as possible to the well, mine, or port. The second largest solution is retrofitting buildings. For instance, the Empire State Building is one of the most visible examples of a trend that is occurring around the world, which is retrofitting buildings more than resource efficient and climate friendly. The United Nations Environment Program, the International Energy Agency, and others estimate that buildings consume between 30 and 40% of global energy and responsible for around 1/3 of global greenhouse gas emissions. People can decrease their greenhouse gas emissions and improve energy efficiency and conserve natural resources. Expanding the number of retrofit buildings in America can significantly shrink our collective carbon footprint. Now let's discuss the small solutions that anyone in your homes can do. The first small solution is simple. Walk or bike somewhere you could normally drive. Even parking your car and riding a bike the rest of the way to your destination can save fossil fuel emissions. And another plus is that it can add some exercise to your day. The second small solution is to use more renewable energy. The most direct and long-term cost savings approach is to install solar panels at your home. But that's okay if you can't do that. You can also take part in community solar by purchasing a panel or subscribing to a solar farm. I hope after listening to this presentation, you have a better idea of what climate change is, how it's affecting us, and what we can do about it. Nevada and everywhere else is experiencing side effects of climate change, and we the people have the duty of protecting the earth. Thank you for listening, and if you have any questions, I will gladly answer them.